Hey guys, it's Bethany. Don't mind the hair. It wasn't having it today. It just had to be in a ponytail. Today we are going to start on a journey of self-discovery by taking the Myers Briggs Personality Test. The plan is to take the test and then take a free knockoff version to see if we get the same result. The actual name of the test is the Myers Briggs Type Indicator, and of course it's I think the most popular personality test in the world, so most of you have probably heard of it. What I did not hear of though was that it costs $50 to take. Why? The one over at 16personalities.com is free, so that's the knockoff one we'll be checking out whenever we're done with the real one. I did take the Myers-Briggs back in high school in my psychology class, though for the life of me I couldn't tell you what type I actually got. I can guarantee though, we're gonna make a prediction, I can guarantee it's gonna start with I, which means introverted, because I'm definitely introverted. Okay, this says that the test has 93 questions and it should take about 15 minutes. So I'm gonna take it and I'll be back with you. Okay, it looks like I just finished. Looks like it took me about 11 minutes. So this is telling me that personality type is made up of 4 elements. Each element is made up of 2 opposite ways of being. So like the first letter is introvert or extrovert, I or E. And it says we have a natural preference for each one of the opposites in each element. And then each of our 4 preferences combine and interact to form your whole personality type, which are the 4 letters. This also says that personality type is made up of 4 elements. It's the way you direct and receive energy, the way you take in information, the way you decide and come to conclusions, and the way you approach the outside world. This is also saying that the 2 opposites, like introverted or extroverted, are not going to be constant for you at all times. Of course, not everyone is going to be introverted at all times and never talk to anyone and never have any ease of speaking in public, but you just tend to do one more than the other. So that's how it chooses which letter you are for each one. Okay, looks like my personality type they decided is INTP. So that stands for introversion, intuition, thinking, and perceiving. And it says INTPs are independent problem solvers who excel at providing a detached, concise analysis of an idea or situation. They have a high regard for competence in themselves and others. They ask the hard questions, challenging others and themselves to find new logical approaches. INTPs are mainly interested in ideas and have little liking for small talk. They value autonomy, home, family, and health. It says, analyzing me, how I would act around others is that I tend to have a small circle of close friends and enjoy being with others who like to discuss ideas. They value people of intelligence and competence. They love to theorize and discuss abstractions with others. INTPs prize precision in communication and dislike redundancy or stating the obvious. They're usually quiet and reserved, although they can be quite talkative about areas in which they have a lot of knowledge, which I think is pretty accurate. And then once you have your type on this website, which I'll link down below, this is I think the official version, and it's MBTI online, so the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator online.com. And they also give you different tools, is what they're calling them. So if I need advice on like staying motivated or engaged, which would be a problem for me, it could give me that. Giving and receiving feedback, dealing with disagreement, making decisions, things like that. It'll also let you compare if you know maybe like your partner's type. It'll let you compare between you two and see how you work together. I don't know Cam's type. I don't think he's ever taken it, but that might be cool to look at in the future. It also gives you stress management tips as based on your type. So my signs of stress would be getting angry or having emotional displays of sadness or hurt feelings, becoming focused on small issues and losing sight of the bigger picture, start becoming suspicious of people's motives and intentions. That's super true. And some solutions for me would be having a lot of alone time and insisting on being left alone, having others give me a temporary break from my responsibilities, or keeping physical and emotional distance from my stressors. I have dealt with some depression and anxiety issues in the past, and anxiety is definitely something I deal with still today. Depression is becoming less and less frequent, but anxiety is definitely an everyday thing for me, so helping me with stressors is kind of good. So that's a good feature that they have on here. All right, now that we have taken the Myers Briggs, let's go ahead and take the 16 personality test. This one says it'll take about 12 minutes. Already I'm noticing that there's kind of a different format in these questions. They give you, at least on these first ones, a sliding scale. So you can do agree, somewhat agree, neutral, and so on down to disagree. Whereas with the Myers-Briggs, it was usually a decisive yes or no answer, or choose one or the other. Okay, it looks like for the 16 personalities test that I ended up with INFP, so that's pretty similar. We had INTP on the other one. And right off the bat, I noticed some differences that probably influenced why I got what I did. Like I said earlier, the questions were formatted a little bit differently, and I think I enjoyed the questions that the 16 personalities test gave me better than the Myers-Briggs, just in the way they worded the questions. They seemed like they made a little bit more sense and helped me decide one way or the other how I felt about them. And it also really did help to have that sliding scale of agree to disagree with lots of places in between. I never picked neutral on any of them because I didn't think that would be any help to your results. Surprisingly, it did get us pretty close to the 2. And they're saying that the INFP that I got over here is mediator. So it says the mediator personalities are true idealists, always looking for the hint of good in even the worst of people and events, searching for ways to make things better. While they may be perceived as calm, reserved, or even shy, mediators have an inner flame and passion that can truly shine. Comprising just 4% of the population, the risk of feeling misunderstood is unfortunately high for the mediator. But when they find like-minded people to spend their time with, the harmony they feel will be a fountain of joy and inspiration. So they do this in a percentage. So it says I'm 92% introverted, 71% intuitive, 65% feeling, and 53% prospecting, as well as 96% turbulent instead of assertive. So they add on a little bit at the end that is either assertive or turbulent. So it's actually, I am an INFP-T for these guys. For these guys. They give you little insights on the side as well as to things about your personality. So it says mediators are the most likely personality type to need at least half an hour to really wake up, which is so true. I'm not a morning person. And this actually goes into romantic relationships. So it says mediators are dreamy idealists, and in the pursuit of the perfect relationship, this quality shows strongest. Never short on imagination, mediators dream of the perfect relationship, forming an image of this pedestaled ideal that is their soulmate, playing and replaying scenarios in their heads of how things will be. And basically, so no one can fill your expectations. It also has a friendship tab, so it just says I have few friendships, but they tend to be for life. And one sentence that sounds pretty right for me is that mediators crave the depth of mutual human understanding, but tire easily in social situations. It's as though mediators like the idea of human contact, but not the reality of social contact, which I think is pretty true as well. And then it also goes into parenthood, career paths, workplace habits, conclusion, just kind of wraps up. And their wrap up is that few personality types are as poetic and kind-hearted as mediators, Their altruism and vivid imagination allow mediators to overcome many challenging obstacles, more often than not, brightening the lives of those around them, and yet can be easily tripped up in areas where idealism and altruism are more of a liability than an asset. This also says that mediators are the personality type most likely to say they want to change quite a few things about themselves, which I think is also pretty true. And then here at the end, it also gives you a lot of resources, just like the Myers-Briggs one did. So those are the two tests. I don't know which one I really identify with more. I definitely see parts of me in both of them. It may be more of like I'm in between both of those. I definitely liked the 16 personalities test quite a bit more just because of the format and the way they worded questions. And I can see that the Myers-Briggs test is almost focusing more on the factual side and probably have a lot more research and study behind their results. It does feel like the 16 personalities may be a little bit more of a casual way of explaining things to you, but it makes it more approachable and it makes me feel like I know exactly what they're talking about, I think just a little bit more. In the end, I think both of these are really helpful and they did get me pretty close to one another, so I think the majority of what we're looking at is probably pretty accurate. But then again, most people say that personality tests like this are not super accurate to begin with. I could definitely see how that would be true. I did try and answer both sets of questions as similarly as possible, but it's hard not to have a bias as to what you hope you would answer or what you hope you're like instead of what you actually are. And it's also really hard for people to really come to terms with who they actually are as a person and not what you want to be. I do think some of these tools might be helpful, so I'll definitely look into them in the future, but unless you're just extremely curious, you may or may not need to take this test. I definitely recommend taking the 16 personalities over the Myers-Briggs just because $50 is a lot to get pretty much the same information as you would on the free one, just with a little bit less scientific language coming along with it. If you like this video, please give it a like so hopefully more people can find it, and subscribe to the channel. We have lots of different kinds of content here, and next week I'm hoping to take the Enneagram test, which is another type of personality test. It's really popular on the internet right now and it puts you at a number instead of letters, so I think that'll be interesting. I'm also going to look and see if there are any other knockoff ones as well, so maybe we can do the same type of test. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!